So, kind of going to do another video in this series, and this video is going to basically be, you want to power lift, now what? So, one of the things that you need to probably start to ask yourself is, what are the things that matter to you? And you're probably thinking, hey, obviously lifting and competing, that's why I'm here. But it's never that simple in powerlifting. So there are a few things that, or a few differentiations that matter in powerlifting. And I'm going to kind of go through each of them, and then we can talk about federations, and then we can talk about meets. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, do you consider yourself drug-free or untested? Now, this is a very controversial thing in the world of powerlifting and the world of lifting. You can go on YouTube right now and find numerous videos of fake natty, or are they natty or not? Are they natural? Natty, of course, is a slang term for natural, if you didn't know that. And to be honest with you, it is one of those things that is truly up to you. But what I would advise you to do is, drug-free is not necessarily what you think it means. Drug-free is based off what each federation dictates as being drug-free. So, for example, if you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're on testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, that is technically not drug-free. If you have a prescription for Adderall, some federations that might not be drug-free if you don't let that be known. Different things like that. I am not an expert on this. I am not a person who does the drug testing. I am a referee, but I will send the drug testing off, or I will facilitate a drug test, but I'm not the one like checking for everything. Look at what your federation considers drug-tested versus drug-free. Next, the classic debate. Are you, speaking of gear, are you a geared lifter, not geared like steroids, but are you a geared lifter, meaning single ply or multiply? Do you use a bench shirt? Do you use a squat suit, a deadlift suit? Or are you quote-unquote raw? And that's a loaded term as well. I'm going to tell you, since probably the 2010s and on, Raw has dictated everything. You do not see a lot of geared lifting anymore. I am contemplating doing single ply stuff myself, but I am very out of the know in that. And if you guys want a video to cover that, I'll be more than happy to. But most people are going to compete in what they call Raw. But what is Raw? Well, depending on what federation, Raw could mean classic Raw or Raw. What does that mean? Classic Raw means you use knee wraps. And then there are restrictions on what those are. Regular Raw would be knee sleeves, belt, and those, of course, have their restrictions as well. I will tell you again, that is a personal preference. Now, for classifications as far as competing at a national level, I will tell you classic Raw, or Raw with wraps as it's sometimes referred to, does tend to have a higher total you have to meet, given that wraps traditionally give you more on your squat. Next, you have to decide whether you want to compete in your age division, open, or both. Open is just like the word it says. It is open to everybody. Juniors, or under 18, under 24, under 35, all the way up. Junior, typically, at least in USPA, goes in age chunks all the way up to 24 years old. Open, again, is everybody. Submaster is an interesting one where 30s, 40s is kind of where you're at there. And then master is another category in itself. And that's typically, for those of you who age is just a number. And I'm tongue-in-cheek because I will one day be a master's lifter, so it's going to be important to me. But that's the things that you're going to have to figure out first. What matters to you? What do you want to test in? What parameters matter to you. Once you understand that, then it's time to pick a federation. And I've got some federations pulled up here. Again, I am extremely biased towards USPA. I am a referee in USPA. I am a coach in USPA. I have competed in nothing but USPA meets. I want to get that bias out of the way up front. I did that only because they were very, very kind to me, and Kentucky happens to have a big USPA presence. So that's what I'm going to tell you to pick your federation. It does not necessarily matter what federation you pick, because we're here to compete, and we're just here to have fun. Most of us are not going to set all-time world records. That's okay. It's still fun to compete and still fun to set records in our state and our categories. But I picked USPA because at the time when I started powerlifting, they had the largest presence, and that's the first meet I ever went to. What I would challenge you to do is find the federation that's most represented in your state or even in your area, and then join that one. Because what's going to be more important to you is not necessarily the federation that you rep, but what kind of travel are you looking at? Are the meets well attended? Are they reffed in a way that, or are they officiated in a way that is meaningful? And if you pick USPA and there isn't a USPA meet in your state, that's a dumb federation to pick. On the flip side, if you pick 100% Raw or WRPF or USAPL or IPF, any of these federations, if they're nowhere near your state, don't join it. Compete or join it later after you get some competitions under your belt. So I'm going to start here with USPA and kind of show you. So what you would do is it's just uspa.net, and you can look and go to find, and you can click events. So like I told you, I'm in Kentucky. So what I'm going to do is here's a list of all the meets. And for me, I'm going to look for Indiana, Kentucky, because I'm kind of in this weird spot where Indiana's only a 50-minute drive up. But first I'm going to search Kentucky and find events. And boom, there is a non-drug tested meet in December in Louisville. I'm actually going to probably officiate that meet. Oh, hey, there's a USPA drug-tested Buddy Caps Classic in Louisville. That meet's incredible. I've done that every year. I will be competing in that one with my good friend Charlie, who's basically the guy I compete with, and we've gone to nationals, and we're the guys that keep each other accountable. And you actually might see a video of his here in a little while. But for example, how did I know it was drug tested? Because drug tested is actually in the title. USPA is very definitive about that. They have tested and non-tested divisions. You see some other ones here, so on and so forth. So that's how you would basically find events there, and we'll talk about how you would join in and stuff like that. So WRPF, become a member, records, about. So I'm going to click events again. I'm curious. I think Kentucky is pretty well represented. I believe in the Lexington area. I clicked Kentucky. So Shamrock Showdown, Elite Fitness. It's actually in Louisville as well. That's actually pretty close to the Buddy Caps Classic one. So again, there's another one right there. Not too bad. USAPL. I actually am a certified coach for right now on there. They're actually requiring that you become a referee to be a certified coach by the end of next year. And because I'm a ref for USPA, there's actually rules that say you can't be a ref in two different federations. So I'm going to see if I can circumvent that, but I probably won't be a coach in this federation much longer. They are not well represented in Kentucky. They are a top-notch federation, just as USPA is, and they're probably the more well-known federation. But again, they're not in Kentucky. Do they have events in Kentucky? Every now and then, but not enough, and not when I was looking. So we'll go to calendar. It's probably going to take a little while to load. So any state, I'm going to click Kentucky again. Let's make a liar out of me here. No. Again, great federation, not in Kentucky. And then IPF is the International Powerlifting Federation, pretty well known. USAPL used to be a part of this. From my understanding, they are no longer a part of it. I've seen conflicting information on that, but on USAPL's page, I've seen that they broke from the IPF. IPF is another, again, standout organization and federation. Again, there are dozens more federations. Find the one that's near you, find the one that you want to compete in, and then go from there. Because that's what's going to be enjoyable, that's what's going to be fun. Lift with your friends, and then we'll talk about the community itself. Again, I cannot recommend USPA enough, but I'm very biased. So if you have any questions, let me know, and we'll go to the next video.